need to answer the question, how many live here, so they can count the state to give you your state reps, so you have representatives. But outside of that, it's a complete fraud, and that's only the tip of the iceberg.
Let's talk a little bit more about this, Alex, when we come back. This is truly unbelievable. And then we'll take a few phone calls with Alex Jones when we come right back on Coast to Coast AM. Well, next hour, Georgios Tsoukalos joins us as we talk about ancient astronauts and an incredible theory. But when we come right back, it's more of Alex Jones, the census, and your phone calls on Coast to Coast AM. And we've got Alex Jones and we've got your phone calls. Alex, you brought up a good point. Where did they hire some of these canvassers when they started going door to door?
They just hired them randomly. Whoever wanted to apply could then get the job, and that's like the TSA guy in Boston, now charged with child rape, running naked body scanners. What types of individuals, exactly, what type of individuals want these positions? And we know what happened 10 years ago. There were cases of them busting into people's houses, going after people, even if it's a small percentage who break the law or who are unstable. It's still, with hundreds of thousands of people hired by the federal government for the census, this is a disaster. But the larger issue is this. Of the 38 questions in the 10 overall questions, but in the sub-questions, they never ask, are you a U.S. citizen? Are you an illegal alien? And 800-plus U.S. cities are sanctuary cities. Where I live in Austin, I'm discriminated against as a citizen. Illegal aliens get off for DWIs. They get off for all sorts of crimes. They get off for not having an ID or having insurance because the government wants them here to drive down the wages and bring in this whole North American Union. And so there's no questions in the entire survey about that. And basically, this entire census, as it gets more invasive, more unconstitutional, violating people's right against self-incrimination, it's really about banking and money and when do you go to work and when are you home?
Yeah.
What are you doing?
Control, control, control.
Absolutely. And more importantly, in the control paradigm, it's about training you to answer questions that you have a right not to answer. It's about training you. And the federal government has said last year that they want to start yearly census and monthly census. So if people go along with this, it's going to become even more unconstitutional, George.
Still sounds like the old, give us your papers.
Give us your papers, please.
Here we go. Let's take some calls here, Alex, and tell me what's up next on InfoWars and Prison Planet. Let's go to Buckley, Washington. Dennis on west of the Rockies. Hey, Dennis, go ahead.
Yeah, hi, George. Hi, Alex. Really great to talk to you guys. And I'm an old logger, and old loggers don't like taking a BS from anybody. And this census, I just got it yesterday, and I filled it out today. And as I told your screener, a lot of the questions I answered, yeah, there's 2 people in my house. And I also said I was white.
Did you answer everything, though, Dennis?
I answered every question, but what I put on some of the questions was NOYB. Instead of checking the box, I just put NOYB.
None of your business.
None of your business, and it is none of their business. Now,
well, you got to let us know, Dennis, if they come back to you. I really want to know if they do.
Well, I will. I mean, Alex is talking about there's going to be a $5,000 fine. Well, I haven't got $5,000. They're going to have a hard time finding it.
Well, I mean, let me expand on that. Again, if you're caught with dead bodies in your basement, you don't have to incriminate yourself in federal or state court or to police or to anybody else. So why are they doing this? And yes, that's none of their business. Another thing is half this country is supposedly white. So why is it just white? But then if you're anybody else, they want to know your exact ethnicity. And again, this is more of the whole balkanization game. But look, they have no business, and you have no liability to answer that. Now, you make your own decision whether you're going to answer or not, but it's not their business what your mortgage is. It's not their business when you go to work. It's not their business if you have a handicap. It's not their business. This is not the Soviet Union or East Germany or Communist China or Fidel's Cuba. This is the United States of America, and we don't have any responsibility to answer these unconstitutional questions. And the fact that the system is trying to force this on us when they know full well it's illegal shows how unlawful and out of control this system is.
I wonder who put this together, Alex. Who concocted this?
George, I'm going to be honest with you. The Department of Labor and others put it together. But this isn't even as bad as the 2000 census. They had a bunch of variants in 2000. What type of toilet? What are your stocks and bonds? What's in your bank account? All sorts of other questions. This is bad. But the problem is they've overlaid the GPS markers at everyone's door. I mean, I remember a year ago, people kept calling me, and I hadn't seen any news. There's people at my door marking my GPS. I said, oh, that's a conspiracy theory. And then it turned out, no, that was stage one. They are marking where all their slaves are so they can extract as much wealth. They're finding out who you are, what you're doing, and they claim on the census form, if you don't answer this right, you have basically perjury or a liability, and we're going to charge you if our data doesn't match with your data. So again, don't self-incriminate. You have no responsibility as free Americans, free humans, to answer a bunch of jackboots questions. It's very simple.
Black Hills, South Dakota. First-time caller is Michelle. Michelle, good evening.
Good evening, George. Hi, Alex.
Hi.
Excuse me, I'm a little nervous. I'm so happy to talk to both of you. I've learned so much from listening to everything.
Well, that's what we're all here for, Michelle.
Thanks. I pulled out my copy of the Constitution because a couple of weeks ago when the census was coming around here, we were discussing it with some friends and all. And what I found out was it's in Section 2 of Article 1 where it talks about, how the number of representatives.
Yeah, the enumeration of the people, a basic head count each state to decide how many how many congressional reps you get.
Right, but the part where I think they're coming up with this other stuff is it says the actual enumeration shall be made, ... within every subsequent term of 10 years in such manner as they shall by law direct. So they must have come up with some other laws that specifically state they can ask all these other questions.
Well, I mean, here's the issue. Here's the issue. 1789, we'd beaten the British. We were debating the Constitution, and the 13 colonies got together and they said, we will have a Bill of Rights that trumps all of this. And there's something called the Fifth Amendment, okay? And just like the first, the second, the third, the fourth. And it says that you don't have to self-incriminate or open your mouth. And so they can't come to you and make you answer questions. All they can do under the Constitution is say, how many people live here so we can decide how many congressional representatives you get. That's it. That's the only reason for it. And it goes back even before 1789 to Mount Sinai with Moses as he enumerated the Israelites. That's all they're doing is getting a head count of the people. That's constitutional. Anything outside of that one question is a crime.
And you know what's interesting, too, the 10th Amendment, the powers of states and people, that's going to get kicked in as 37 states now are seriously opposed to whatever health plan might get approved.
Well, absolutely. This health plan was written by the insurance companies. And if you go back to 1913, the banks ran all these headlines against the Federal Reserve Act when they'd written it to trick people. Oh, look, the banks are against it. It must be good. But it's come out even in the Wall Street Journal. I read it in an airport a few months ago. I mean, I already knew it, but there it was admitted in the Wall Street Journal that the insurance companies wrote this. This will make 40 million Americans get overpriced insurance. And it makes people who don't have a pre-existing condition, their price goes up to lower those that do have a pre-existing condition. It does. I mean, Tom Daschle wrote the bill. He wrote a book. Bloomberg reported on it, saying if you're above 60, you have a duty to die and that you're not going to get eye surgery. I mean, look, the government can't run anything. It can just steal money. We don't want them running health care. And so I go ahead, look, Dennis Kucinich and Obama, you go ahead and pass your bill because, as you said, 37 states and growing, and we're the real power, the 9th and 10th Amendment of this country.